everybody. Stewart and Janet Swerdlow. Grandpa is back.
And Janet Swerdlow. And isn't it wonderful that we have the real live thing, because last week we had you live by satellite transmission from New York City, remember? Mm-hmm. And you did such a good job, and you even admitted that I was the pretty one. I was so proud of you.
Did I say that?
You did. I was amazing.
Was that edited over?
It was amazing what you did and what you can do with satellite transmission.
Yeah, I knew what you could do with your transmission right now. Anyway, it's Father's Day and Father's Day week. So happy Father's Day week.
And happy Father's Day week.
To everybody, because by the time they see this, it won't be Father's Day.
It'll be Father's Day week.
So happy Father's Day. And
should we say Father's Day strong?
What?
Father's Day strong.
Oh.
Fathers, stay strong.
I think you need to go back downstairs and do something.
Well, I can't help it. Your satellite transmission thing's whispering things in my ear to say.
Give me the picture right now. Give it to me. Oh, people, really, this is why I travel, okay? Anyway, it was a very wonderful trip to New York City. Unfortunately, the Meta Center will be closing. See, when I go to a place, they close up.
You're just too much fun. Too much
They're
powerful
closing
energy.
up because they lost their lease, unfortunately.
Well, let's hope they find another place.
I wish them well. I hope they find a new place.
They're very kind
very
and
nice,
wonderful.
very nice people, very nice everything. So I wish them well. And a special thank you to Aman Nakagawa and his wife Naini, because they were so wonderful to me and arranged all that. It was really super. So thank you both. And to Mummy, Naini's mother, who just loves me.
More than me?
Loves me, yes. And she said I could come to Mumbai and stay with her like forever.
Yeah, well, that's like okay, because you know I have this, and you can speak to me via satellite transmission now.
That's fine. I'll be in Mumbai, and I will have all kinds of wonderful Indian food. And it will be good.
Yeah, you'll tell me about it through the satellite transmission.
Yes, that's fine.
Because you're very good at that now. We found out.
Talk to the picture. Yeah. Anyway, back to some very serious news. This is very serious.
Serious, isn't that a play on words?
Yes. Just please be quiet till I'm finished with my
How about the picture keeps whispering words in my ear?
So you're, in other words, demonically connected to something.
Really?
It's whispering in your ear.
This is out of your mouth.
Yeah. Anyway, people, I'm so sorry. Anyway, she hasn't had her medication yet this morning. But anyway, Pope Francis. Now, do you remember a few years ago the Vatican called for a global currency?
I remember, we reported on that.
Yes, so now Pope Francis this week said that the global economic system is near collapse. And it's built on money worship and war. Well, he ought to know.
No, the Vatican owns a lot of
Right, he ought to know that. He said the International Labor Organization said that the rate of unemployment in some countries is over 50%. And this is a quote from the Pope. He said, "Someone told me that 75 million young Europeans under 25 years of age are unemployed, and that's an atrocity." But Pope is wrong, because that 75 million figure is the whole world unemployment of people under 25, according to the International Labor Organization. And he said, this is another quote from the Pope, "We discard a whole generation to maintain an economic system that no longer endures, a system that to survive, listen, has to make war as the big empires have always done." Now comes the really interesting thing he said. "But since we cannot wage a third world war, we can make regional wars." That's very nice of the Pope to suggest all of that.
Fascinating.
Isn't it? Now, let's get out of the Vatican because it's creepy over there. Let's go to Southeast Asia. Now, here's something very interesting, because an oil rig worker reveals that he lost his job for reporting that he saw the Malaysian Flight 370 on fire. And this was off the coast of Vietnam on March 8th. And he says, his name is Mike McKay, and he was working on the Songa Mercur oil rig off the coast of Vietnam, and he said, and I quote, "I believe I saw the Malaysian Airlines plane come down. The timing is right." Now, fast forward, well, actually, let's go back in time to last week when I was in New York. And there was a story on, I think, CNN or Fox of a British woman who said that while she was traveling on her yacht on the night of March 7th to 8th, between India and Thailand, she saw, guess what? A huge plane, glowing orange, crashing into the ocean. And she was so traumatized and shocked that she waited 3 months to say anything. So let's get this straight. We have this guy off the coast of Vietnam saying he saw a crash. We have this woman in the Indian Ocean, so she said, well, it crashed twice then.
Maybe there were two planes.
The whole thing is, to me, you know what it is? These are all cover stories. These are to make people confused and doubtful so that they don't know what happened.
Well, we still don't know, and and the story basically is dropped, and we hear very little
It's
about
dropped because there's nothing to say. It's not there.
at this point.
I think some very people that I met in New York City who know people said that they were told by a secret source, which will be unnamed, that the plane is in Pakistan.
Oh, really? So it's no longer in the military base where
Well,
it was originally.
who knows where, how and when it ended up, but
Now
it
they're
was
saying
in
it's in
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
Yeah. And it could be that, the government operation that took this plane, maybe they crashed planes in these different, to confuse things.
That's possible.
Yeah, but
Could have
I
been
have another
military
story.
exercise.
I have another story coming up that's going to kind of connect to this. But before I do that, in San Rafael, California, more than 200 people are looking for a 9-year-old girl from Santa Fe, New Mexico, who disappeared from her campsite. And the only thing that's, I guess, it's a terrible thing, because a lot of children have been disappearing in the woods lately. But you know what her name is?
What?
Ida Rothschild. So that's what sparked my curiosity. And it says here they don't know if Ida wandered away or got lost or was kidnapped. So my question is, where were her parents? All these kids disappear on trips with adults. Who's watching them?
Well, not many people. If you notice what happens with children these days, most of them just are wandering around unsupervised.
Wow, that's really amazing. Now, let's go to some science fiction or maybe science fact news. Because a NASA scientist, Harold White, has said that since 2010, he has been working on, guess what? A warp drive, just like the one on Star Trek. And he said that technologically, the spacecraft will look just like the one, almost pretty much like the one, the Enterprise. And in fact, you know what he calls his model of it? The Enterprise. So here we have fiction coming to life, or maybe they knew all along.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Maybe this has existed, and so they built the television story on something that already existed, and now they're pretending that it didn't exist, and so this is why they're telling you that.
Well, this Harold White, and his name is White, the
color
Illuminati color, he said that the idea of a space warp or a loophole in the theory of general relativity would allow for massive distances to be traveled very quickly, reducing travel times from thousands of years to days. Now, what did I say that it's a wormhole? Did I not say this in my simultaneous existence information?
Many times, in which that's on the member side of our site right now.
He says that space warps for faraway galaxies that can bend light around them. So the principle of bending space both in front of and behind the spacecraft would allow them to go travel. That's a wormhole.
Yep, that's a
okay?
wormhole.
And that's how UFOs travel. He said White's team has been working would literally transcend space, shortening the distance between 2 points and allowing the craft to break the speed of light. And this would be a spaceship with no speed limit. Very much the way you drive.
You talking to yourself again?
Yeah. Now this is interesting. The 1965 sketches of the Enterprise from Star Trek were mathematically correct. So my thing is, if they're mentioning this, they already have it.
Absolutely.
Now, here's the connection to the Malaysian flight. Guess what happened on the 2 days I was flying this week?
Your plane disappeared.
Well, on June 5th and June 12th, both days I was flying, 13, there's that number, 13 planes mysteriously vanished from radar in Europe for 25 minutes, which is called an unprecedented incident. It happened over Austria, and other neighboring countries also reported blackouts. What do you call it? The people that watch the radar screens, the air traffic controllers said they saw the flights disappear from there. Said beep, bleep right off. This happened in Vienna, Austria, and also by controllers in Munich and Karlsruhe, Germany, Prague, Czech Republic, and Bratislava, Slovakia. Say that 10 times fast. I live in Bratislava, Slovakia.
You could probably
That's
do
where they
that.
drink a lot of beer there, and they still pronounce it. Anyway, and it says right here in this article, the revelations echo the circumstances surrounding missing Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. So maybe they used whatever they bleeped these planes out with, they bleeped that plane out because they were trying to hide something and they're testing it again.
And I'm going to tell you, there's a buzzword in there. Did you catch it? The
What?
trigger word?
What?
Revelation.
Revelation. You're brilliant.
I know.
Annoying as hell, but brilliant.
Extremely brilliant.
Now,
And pretty.
guess what they said? There was no danger at any time. Okay, 13 planes vanish off radar and there's no danger. That's brilliant.
And how many passengers?
I'm not going to be
total?
flying over Austria anytime soon.
No.
Well, actually, I might.
As I was going to say,
Actually,
depending on your trip.
yeah. They said safety in the Austrian airspace was guaranteed at all times. Or you will be executed. You know why? Because they had voice communication with the planes.
That's what they claim.
Yeah. And they said that they don't know what caused the blackout, and no error was indicated on the operating system. Well, I think they need to take a good look at that. Because that's not too good. Now, very serious news here. You know about that Bo Bergdahl. Who names a kid Bo? Oh, look, here's my baby. I think I'll call him Bo, like bow and arrow.
B-E-A.
B-O-W-E.
Well, B-E-A-U is an old-style French Southern name, believe it or not.
Like, would you be my Bo?
Like Beauregard.
Beauregard, yeah. But that's not what this is. Anyway, he's now in San Antonio.
Does he have a middle name?
Recovering. It doesn't say. But here's what's
Maybe
interesting.
Arrow.
They're saying he will continue the next phase of his reintegration process.
You should explain first to people who it is. Not everyone may know,
Ah, yes. He is the one who was captured in Afghanistan in June 2009 and released by the Taliban this May 31st in a deal that was struck by Obama. We all love him. Which 5 senior Taliban officials were released from detention in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and have already vowed to destroy the United States. So it was a great deal. Here, a deserter for 5 terrorists who want to kill everyone. I think it's brilliant.
So this guy was a deserter?
Well, here's the thing. They have not yet formally begun a new review into the circumstances of Bergdahl's capture and whether he walked away without leave or was deserting the army when he was found and taken by insurgents and caused the deaths of his fellow soldiers who went looking for him. He was very brilliant as Bergdahl. But guess what? For all of that, he may receive $300,000 in back pay that he was owed since he disappeared. And because he was a prisoner of war, he could receive another $300,000. I'm going to maybe go over to the Taliban and get captured and then they'll pay me.
But you know what? Obviously,
$600,000 for deserting your post.
Obviously, there's something else going on in here that we don't know about.
Well, obviously, and plus they have revealed emails he sent his parents, basically trashing the U.S. government, not that I disagree with it, but, he obviously wanted to go with them. So, why did we capture him? And then they said when they got him back, he was only speaking in Pushtu, some
Really?
local language, and he had to relearn it to speak English again.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very odd.
But you want to hear odd?
Well, that was a very odd story. Can it get odder?
Well, I have related to the area. Guess what? We all know about Horus and Isis and Osiris and that whole story. Well, in Iraq now, there is a group called ISIS, which is the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria.
That's why I was saying about getting serious.
And they are taking over most of Iraq. It's a good thing we liberated Iraq.
That's amazing.
It's so good that we did that.
We lost so many thousands of lives.
Yes, and here we are now fighting this ISIS, and the voice of ISIS says to the fighters not to give up a hand's width of ground you've liberated, and continue your march as the battle is not yet raging. It will rage in Baghdad and Karbala, so be ready for it. And, of course, the Iraqis in Baghdad, or the government, has asked the U.S. for help. But the U.S. says we are not contemplating ground troops. Now, speaking in London, the Iraqi Foreign Minister, Hoshyar Zabari, told CNN that nobody has called for the introduction of American troops to Iraq. But, now this is the most telling thing. He says, really, this is not the time to be involved with these internal political differences. Now get this, we are facing a larger threat. Well, what is that? Does he know about the staged alien invasion? Could that possibly be? But you know what? It says also here that the extremists there can strike swiftly and effectively against Iraq's American-trained security force. And you know why? Because the security forces U.S. trained fled and left all their uniforms, weapons, and armored vehicles for this ISIS to get.
They just
like, oh, here come bad people, let's run. Here, let's throw our weapons down so they can have it, and we'll flee.
The U.S. forces left everything.
The U.S. trained for the Iraqis. Okay?
That makes no sense.
You know what I think? I think they're really French.
No,
Because whenever the Germans would show up in France, they're like, oh, don't destroy anything, please, come in and occupy. Have some cheese and wine.
It's probably all the same.
Yeah.
It's probably no one fled.
You know.
It's probably all the same.
Well,
because why is all this happening?
but you know what else? I just noticed today, I guess people were getting wise to the term ISIS for this group. So now the CNN is calling them ISIL.
Really, they
the
changed
Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Now the word Levant hasn't been used for the Middle East in like 100 years.
What is Levant?
It means Lebanon and Syria, and it's like the whole region. So maybe they anticipate taking over the whole region.
So ISIS is history?
Well, they're using both, but now I see they're using ISIL. An archaic word that hasn't been used in really 100 years.
But you know, we've been talking about how they're bringing back all the old and making it new.
Yes.
This is obviously part of that.
Right, and it's like a recreation of the Crusades, because this ISIS, ISIL, whatever you want to call it, they want to create a new caliphate. Or in the ancient times, when the Muslims invaded, it was called a caliphate, and the caliph, and they occupied from North Africa all the way to Asia.
Well, you know, the Iraqis are calling for the citizens to take arms and fight,
Well,
that is similar to the Crusades.
speaking of that, you know how the Kurdish area in northern Iraq was always bombed and destroyed by the Iraqis? Well, guess what? Now it's said the semi-autonomous Kurdish regional government is fighting with the Iraqi forces to get rid of these militants. But trust me, the Kurdish don't care about the Iraq. They're using it so they get their own Kurdish state, which will probably become part of this, caliphate.
So in other words, it looks like they're recreating the Middle East.
From ancient times.
From
the ancient Islamic hordes that went across. But Iran, now there's two kinds of Muslims. There's the Shiite and the Sunni. These militants, whatever you want to call them, insurgents, these are Sunni, and Iran is Shiite. And of course Iran is not Arabic, it's Persian. And they said they will fight against this group, and the war can spread across Asia, Africa, and Europe.
So what does that implicate?
It means the Pope was wrong. There is a third world war.
It's already happening.
And so here's the thing. All this fighting, all this recreation, and then all of a sudden, aliens come, we all have to stop and become like one. That's what you're going to see. And then we'll find out the aliens have Malaysian flight. You'll
That's
see. I'm telling
true.
you. I know who wrote the script.
Yeah, I believe you at this point.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm done.
You're done? You're
Yeah.
done? Don't say you're done. Stick with pretty.
You know, people out there know how
That
you
you're
treat
dumb.
me.
Don't say that
How you
about
treat
yourself.
me.
Only say good things. I am wonderful, not I am dumb, please. Okay, my turn. Since you did admit that I was the pretty one. Here we go. Now, again, more about history, and I told a lot of space news last time, which you heard via satellite, so I'm sure you're up to date on everything.
I don't listen to you most of the time.
Well, it's because your ears couldn't move. We tried, but
My ears, want to see my ears move?
Let's see.
Look,
Well, look at that. But you couldn't do it.
I have other parts that come in. Want to see them?
Yeah.
Well, you have to turn the camera
Okay.
off.
Did you see the bathing suit that I got you for Father's Day?
No.
Yeah, I put it all over the internet. You just
Oh,
go-
that's the thing that
Yeah.
oh, yeah. I'm going to wear that actually to my next seminar.
That's what I thought. And for your communication one, or for your personal day.
Actually,
with
for
Stewart.
August, because it'll be hot, so it'll be
Right.
summer.
Yeah, so you can
Yeah.
wear it's a man thong.
A man thong,
a
yeah.
a half thong, a half man thong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It goes to the side.
Does it?
Yeah. You'll see.
Yeah, because you've already tried yours on.
Well, you remember last night. You forgot already.
I'm not talking.
All right.
Okay, Earth and Moon may be 60 million years older than we thought. New research indicates that the Earth and the Moon are 60 million years older than previously estimated because they claim, this is according to current history, that the Earth and the Moon were created from a collision.
Right.
Okay, more than
I
40
think the
million
collision
years
was
ago.
from the head of the person who wrote this.
So now they're saying no, they're changing it, and it might be off as much as 20 million years. But the idea is that we're taking the age of the Earth back.
The idea also is that just a few years ago they announced that the moon is older than the Earth and not from the solar system.
So they're changing things. And so I've got several related stories. This is interesting. So
All
one
right.
kind of flows into another. So the next is saying that scientists might have identified echoes of ancient Earth inside of the Earth. That there might be another Earth inside of this Earth.
Oh, duh.
But isn't that interesting? Okay, think hollow Earth theory. So now they're saying, and now this word I wanted to, what's that word?
Thea.
Yeah, it says that the currently favored theory says the moon was formed 4.5 billion years ago, after they're talking about the millions here, 4.5 billion years ago when the Earth collided with a Mars-sized mass.
Okay, listen to me. If the Earth collided with a Mars-sized, we would not be here right
Yes, but see, they're putting this name on it. What does Thea mean?
now. Well, it's like God.
Okay.
Theo.
So there we go.
Theosophy, yeah.
All right. So now they're saying because of that there's an ancient part that still exists within the Earth's mantle. So they're going again deeper into what's happening inside the Earth. It says the energy released by the impact between the Earth and Theia would have been huge, certainly enough to melt the whole planet. But we believe that part of it is still remaining inside one of the hemispheres.
Yeah, right.
So that's interesting. Okay, now, because I got several of these here that are kind of related, so we're going to move through them rather quickly.
Okay.
Now, have you ever heard of a vine? A vine in space?
Sometimes I drink wine in the house,
Yes,
and
that's
sometimes
it.
I drink wine in space.
Yes,
It depends.
Okay, this particular one is called Earth's Terminator Line, which is the line separating the sunlit side of the Earth from the nighttime areas. This is called a vine. Now, I've never heard of that.
Is that like that line that divides the light and the day?
That's what they're saying, but I thought that was kind of interesting. We're talking about the battles of good and evil, how things are being set up, and so now they're showing. And
Yeah,
what's
okay.
interesting, if you remember, I just read in the church service of John 15, verses 1 through 17 about I am the vine. Remember, and you
Right.
can't separate the fruit from the vine. And now here we're again talking another reference to the vine. So to
Right.
me, this is biblical stuff still that they're putting out for us out there. So anyway, American astronaut Reed Wiseman posted the first ever vine from space on Friday. And this is a 92-minute video of this Terminator line.
Terminator line.
Isn't that interesting? Which is a vine and compressed into a 6-second time-lapse video. So that was interesting. Now then, they're going back into the mystery of the moon's far side. So we're back to the moon again. And they're saying, why is one side of the moon different from another? So Jason Wright, who's an assistant professor of astrophysics at Pennsylvania State University, said in a written statement, it was all mountains and craters. Where were, now this, again, I've never heard used this way.
Maria.
They are calling it Maria.
Maria.
We know the name Maria. We know the mother of Jesus' name is Mary.
Well, what does that mean, though, there?
It actually is what it's called the lunar maria, or seas, are massive plains created by ancient volcanic activity. Now, as I was reading this, it's saying this is the reason because of the difference, and they're linking this to the thickness of the crust on the two sides of the moon. The crust on the far side is much thicker than that on the near side. They're talking about the crust of the earth and the mantle of the earth. So they're going back and forth and linking this to Maria or Mary, or taking it back another step. Mer is a French word for sea.
Yes, right.
So now they're calling it M-A-R-I-A, and they're pronouncing it Maria.
Well, Mar is sea in Spanish.
So all of that has to do with Mary, mother of Jesus. It has to go back into all of this New World religion programming, which also led me to Lumeria. So if we take a Maria, Mary, they're hooking us into this revelation. So if you look at these buzzwords and trigger words that they're putting in out there,
true.
It's very interesting to me. So again, they're linking this back to the moon. Now, they're saying that there's a hidden ocean, which was discovered deep underground near Earth's core. It says we may have another ocean to add to the world map. This one is hidden hundreds of miles beneath our planet's surface, nestled in the Earth's mantle, approximately 400 miles beneath North America. They even tell us where it is. It's a hidden.
I've spoken about that years ago.
Yes, it's a hidden reservoir, apparently locked. They're even telling us in a blue crystalline mineral called ringwoodite, which may hold, listen to this, 3 times as much water that exists in all the world's surface oceans.
That's a lot of water.
It's a lot of water. And now they're saying, how did it come here? Well, originally they said the Earth's water came from comets, so which is telling us that, they're telling us though that there's water in other worlds. Otherwise it couldn't have come here on a comet.
But you remember in Blue Blood I said the Earth was originally completely covered in water.
Absolutely. But this is, again, they're bringing this stuff into the people's conscious mind. Now they're saying because of this, they're saying that Earth's water came from within. So this is going to lead people to go further inside of the Earth because we're building, and also into the moon. Because we're taking a look at the crust, we're taking a look at the Maria. And it also reminds me when we were in the south of France and they talked about Mary crossing. What's the name of that town that they celebrate? Yep. So all of this is about Mary and Jesus. You're going to find out more. Okay, I want to go back to this story because I want to make sure. Here we go. Then they're telling us about a 500 million year old fish, a fish now, that may be the ancestor of all living vertebrates. They say a stunningly preserved, soft-bodied fish that is more than 500 years old could be the ancestor of almost all living vertebrates.
I mean, us too.
Yes. They're saying that this primeval creature lived during a period from 543 million to 493 million years ago, known as the Cambrian explosion or the evolutionary Big Bang, when almost all complex life began. So again, they keep bringing these things up. They've got you in this loop and changing things as we go because all this new information is opening up. Now I'm going to skip, and this may not seem related, but I'm going to skip to this one because it is space related. Last week I talked about the Eye of Sauron, which NASA has photographed. Remember the Lord of the Rings, the Eye of Sauron?
Well, Saurus is a reptilian.
Okay. So they're saying that NASA actually photographed something and they're comparing that to Lord of the Rings. I reported about this last week. Now this is very interesting to me because there was a performance artist who did an impromptu reenactment of a famous painting, which I've never heard of, and you might have, by Gustave Courbet called The Origin of the World. Have you ever heard of that? Okay, this apparently is at the Paris Musée d'Orsay. And they made it sound like everyone has heard about this. This basically is a portrait of female genitalia.
Ah.
So now you have heard of it? Through which all human beings enter life. So, listen to this. A female performance artist. This is what they're calling people these days who just go out and do things. I never heard them called that until now. Maybe everybody else has, but I hadn't heard that. So this woman dressed in gold, which is apparently the background of the frame, and then she walked in front of this painting in this very famous conservative museum, sat down and spread all her female parts apart for everybody to see. And she was actually there long enough for all of this to be filmed, and the security guards didn't know what to do with her, and they kind of ambled around this and that. But this is the interesting part. This woman, because I'm sure she wants to be recognized.
You think?
I think so. Deborah de Robertis, said, and this is so interesting to me, if you ignore the context, you would construe this performance as an act of exhibitionism.
Of course, because it isn't.
But what I did was not an impulsive act. There is a gap in art history, the absent point of view of the object of the gaze. In his realist painting, the painter shows the open legs, but the vagina remains closed. He does not reveal the whole, that is to say, the eye. This is what I think is so interesting. I'm not showing my vagina, but I'm revealing what we do not see in the painting, the eye of the vagina, the black hole, this concealed eye, this chasm which beyond the flesh refers to infinity, to the origin of the origin. Now, to me, when we talk about the eye of Horus, all these things go back to the ever-watching eye. And we know how global ritual is based on sexuality. So perhaps when we see the eye on the back of the dollar bill, the eye of Horus, this woman is telling us this eye of Sauron actually could be the birth of creation through the tunnel from the God mind.
Or maybe she's just saying that she has an eyeball in her vagina.
She might. But I just thought this was kind of interesting because the eye, the ever-watchful eye, is always out there. What if that eye is referring to the female genitalia?
We should investigate.
We should. We might have to put another chapter onto our True World or True Reality of Sexuality book.
Do you have an email for this, Miss?
No.
Whatever her name is?
Do
Robertus.
Robertus.
I have
But
to
anyway,
contact her.
I thought that was really fascinating information. Okay. Now, we're going to go back to a little bit more serious, but that was kind of serious still. Military equipment. Because of all the wars that are going on, we're finding that a lot of the war equipment is funneling its way into America, into our small town cities. And we have an example of Neenah, Wisconsin, a quiet city of 25... Neenah. A quiet city of about 25,000 people with a low violent crime rate that has not had a homicide in more than 5 years, now has just acquired a 9-foot-tall, 30-ton armored vehicle built to withstand landmines.
But guess what? We have that here now.
I know. But then they're talking about now this is all over the U.S., which we never had this before. And they're saying, well, you know, things are changing, blah, blah. But we have a retired New York Police Department detective, John Beza, saying, a profession that I was once proud to serve in has become a militarized police state. Officers are quicker to draw their guns and use their tanks than to communicate with people to diffuse a situation. They love to use their toys, and when they do, people die. The days of the peace officer are long gone, replaced by militarized police warrior wearing uniforms, making them indistinguishable from military personnel.
Just like Nazi Germany.
Yes, and that is changing. So one of the outgrowths of the war is, the overseas war, is it is becoming more prevalent here in places where we didn't see such type of activity. I think that's important to note. Okay, and then viewers of an online game reported a break-in. Now, as you know,
I heard about that.
Okay, so apparently they thought they were playing a video game, and while this was happening, an online or a home invasion actually took place in one of the participants' apartments, and they were able to call the police and caught some of the people. However, if you remember, I reported a few months ago about a man, I believe he was a soldier serving overseas, who watched his pregnant wife get attacked via a Skype conversation. And I think they were able to track down her attacker because she knew the attacker. But this reminds me again of the Hunger Games, which is going on out there. I talked about this last week. And viewing violence as entertainment, things you can't do anything about. This is when you are, in the beginning, it's shocking because you haven't seen this kind of things, but you're actually being forced to witness, you're being forced to participate. You don't want to, but you have to. And so these, I told you when I reported that story, you're going to see more of this type of thing happen. Here's another one. So watch for a third. It might be a few months apart, but keep your ears and eyes open for that. Okay, then we have the rise and fall of Spider-Man sculpture.
I know what you're going to
In
say.
Busan, South Korea. Did you see that
I was in
article?
Busan.
Did you see that Spider-Man sculpture?
No.
He actually had an erection
No, an eruption.
on the mall's facade.
It was an election.
Apparently, the statue was installed above a playground. He was clinging upside down to the mall's facade with a very discernible erection. You could not miss that. So why was that allowed to go up in the first place? And when they gave the artist the
What do
choice...
you mean, why was it allowed to go up in the first place? this.
I'm glad you finally caught it. You're getting faster. Okay, so anyway, the artist was given the option of altering the piece or taking it down, but now supposedly it's being taken down. But why did it go up? Why was it above a children's playground? People didn't notice that. But again, it's a way to get the words out so you're used to those kind of words. And then now I have just a quickie, 10 buildings that look like penises.
Oh my God, where do you find this
Well,
stuff?
the point being is that there are a lot of skyscrapers and things out there, and when we think about hyperspace and what a penis represents, it actually is a power symbol. So we don't really, it is what it is, obviously. But now they're putting that out there, like I told you, pornography terminology and people and things, it's all normal. So now we're looking at buildings as penises. So they're continuing to move your consciousness that way. And last time I talked about a lot of women who basically now the biggest thing is to show their nipples. They're wearing see-through things.
That's new?
But I mean this total see-through. Not just, comes through a blouse or something, but I mean, they're just like a little veil of something, and there they are. And somebody posted on my Facebook page,
Oh, that was
terrible,
horrible.
about people removing
I don't want to hear about it.
that for whatever reason. I can hardly hear it. Go to my Facebook
No, it's
page.
horrible.
It was
It's
very
horrible. Don't even look.
That was terrible. Anyway, then we have Al Gore, who was a surprise.
You have Al Gore. I don't have Al
Who
Gore.
was a surprise presenter at Chrysalis Butterfly Ball. Now, whoever heard of a Chrysalis Butterfly Ball? Obviously some kind of a monarch thing, but they talk about it like we should know about these things. This apparently, now get this is a ball that raises, it's the Chrysalis Foundation, or Chrysalis organization, which is dedicated to lifting individuals from homelessness and poverty. I never heard of such a thing. I've heard of United Way.
Al Gore is interested in that?
I've heard of United Way, I've heard of Red Cross. I've never heard of the Chrysalis organization. There were 700 guests, which is not really that many when you consider that they raised a record-setting $1.4 million in proceeds.
We should invite them here.
I want to know which individuals are going to lift out of homelessness and poverty with this, because I never heard of this.
They'll never see a dime of it.
That's right. But it sounds good. But the fact that it made its way into the news is...
It's going to make its way into Al Gore's pocket. That's
I'm
what's
sure.
going to happen.
But anyway, and they want to imprint you again with the chrysalis and the butterfly ball.
So let me ask you, so in the last two stories you're talking about penises and balls.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Is that supposed to be funny again?
I'm
Is that a
serious.
pun?
I'm just
But you said that.
observing
Yeah.
your stories.
Yes. I'm telling you that they're out there with New World religion. It's coming down the pike, and there's going to be a lot of stuff. In fact, I told you the story about Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton is Miley Cyrus's godmother, and thinks that Miley Cyrus is doing a wonderful job. She's just finding herself as Dolly did when she started showing her cleavage way back when. So, on to...
Say hello, Dolly.
Hello, Dolly. And they had a sheep. Remember the first cloned sheep's name was
I went
Dolly.
to where that was created in Scotland.
Yeah, it's exciting, I know, for you.
It
So
was.
happy.
I asked them to clone me. They
Yeah,
did
and
actually.
this is
You don't know
yours?
if this is me or a clone actually.
What about this? Is this a clone?
No, because that's a picture.
But it talks. It just hasn't figured out how to move its lips yet. It's working.
They're not damage my picture.
Well, if this is a clone, then there'll just be another one. It'll be okay. All right. Should cursive handwriting still be taught in U.S. classrooms? And I've reported on this many times. Now, this was something I did not know, however, that it says new federal standards in 2010 stopped requiring public schools to teach cursive. I did not know that the law had been passed to stop requiring it, and so I knew people were stopping it, I just didn't understand why. Now, apparently, some school districts still give the option to teach cursive and some don't, and why is this important? Well, Stewart and I have been telling you for a long time that your cursive connects you to the superconscious mind. And what's interesting in this particular article is that technically it agrees with us. It says, studies have shown that cursive handwriting helps children with their fine motor skills and can even lead to better grades. It says the 2006 College Board report that revealed that SAT essays written in cursive scored higher than those written in print. They're also saying that the option to write in cursive can help even the playing field in the classrooms, as students with dyslexia often have difficulty writing in print, but they can do the cursive. Would you think it would be the opposite if you were just logically looking at it? It is, this is a quote, it's because of the various areas of the brain interacting. Let's see. This is quoted by Marilyn Zecker, a former teacher and language specialist at the Atlantic Seaboard Dyslexia Education Center.
It's a long name for a center.
It is. Compared with print, cursive can help dyslexic students decode words as it integrates hand-eye coordination and other brain and memory functions. So I found this interesting because this is another confirmation of what we have been saying. So writing in cursive is very good for you, and when that's gone, it's going to disconnect parts of the brain. And basically this is what this article is telling you. Now kind of back to a couple last minute weirder type of stories. There's a Norwegian artist, I'll let you say his name because you're so good at that, Alexander Selvig.
Thanks, Joel.
25, was born with a hip deformity and had to have an operation to replace one of his hips. So what he did was he took the bone that was taken out with the flesh attached, he boiled it up and he made soup out of it.
That's why Norway's not a major world country.
Yeah, but this is, again, we're hearing more and more in the news about people who are eating themselves. It's not becoming, it's where we said, ew, in the first place, how could people do that? Now, okay, I've heard that story, let's go on to the next one.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I'm in a room with him and I get mad, I'm never going to say, bite me, pig.
No, I don't think you're going to.
He would.
He might, but this is becoming more commonplace. So again, cannibalism, things we've been telling you about, it's coming down the pike. All right, and the last story. A woman who had sex with a dolphin as part of a scientific study has spoken out for the first time. Because during the 60s, now this was part of a NASA-funded experiment.
Sex with dolphins?
Apparently in the U.S. Virgin Islands to teach...
Virgin Islands sex.
Gotcha. To teach the intelligent sea creatures how to speak English.
And they paid them for that?
They paid them for that. And so apparently there was a dolphin named Peter, how appropriate.
Oh my God, are you making these stories up?
And who was coming of age, so she allowed him, it sounds like, to rub on her because it was like scratching an itch, she said.
You should introduce the dolphin to the vagina lady in your other story.
I don't know, but anyway, so it says, as the two bonded, their relationship progressed to a more physical level.
I know, sounds fishy to me.
Well, dolphins aren't fish, they're mammals.
I know, it was a joke.
You gotta have better material than
please,
that.
I bet everybody out there is laughing.
No, not at that particular one. That's not, you have to go a mammal joke, not a fishy joke. Remember, I did report about a man who fell in love with a female dolphin not too long ago, in the last year, and had sex with that. So again, what we're looking at here is interspecies relationships.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what this is going to imprint us
Yeah,
for.
I think you need to have one.
Really?
Yeah, maybe some alien.
Really?
Yeah.
You're giving me permission on live camera?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to that. And when
It has to look like a fish.
When the Syrians come and want to take me away for nefarious reasons.
No, it has to be a creature that looks like a fish. Yeah.
Too late. You already said the first part of it, so now I'm going to hold you to it. When that happens, people, you'll understand why.
Well, you'll change your mind when I wear my man thong again.
Am I going to laugh again?
Didn't laugh last night.
I'm laughing now. All right. Maybe you have it on now. Maybe they don't know because we're only filming about the waist.
That's right. I have nothing on underneath, and you know that.
Just took my breath away. What can I say?
The cameraman is blind. Are we done? Are you done?
You're done. Quit saying you're dumb.
Are you
No.
more stories that,
You're dumb, but
disgusting?
I'm
What do you go
not.
to sex.com and get these stories?
Next on the agenda is we want to remind people of our communication seminar coming up in August here in St. Joseph, Michigan. Enjoy our beautiful beaches, bring your family, have fun. It's a lovely, lovely area.
Bring your man thong.
Yeah,
vagina.
if you're a man. Yeah, if you're a woman, then you bring your vagina.
Right, with that, and make sure you have an eyeball in it.
Yeah, because we never know. And then in October, we have coming up Everything's Oversoul, or Everything Oversoul. One of those two. That's coming up in October. That's our annual conference. We have people signing up already. We have Days with Stewart still available for the summer.
Actually, I have a whole week coming up with one person.
Yes, but that's already on your calendar. Now, for
Right.
those who might still want to see if they can get into your calendar, that's where
into my calendar or something, or into my man thong.
Well, you're not going to wear your man thong when they're
Maybe
here.
I will.
You'll make them faint. I'm sorry.
Well, that should pay more for that.
Well, they might have to. We'll have to tell Patricia if he wears the man thong, they pay more.
People pay extra for that.
Yeah, they do. So anyway, we are going to be having some special sea salt visualizations for your special Days with Stewart's here in just the summer months, July and August. Those are the only times we do that.
Yes, because the only time it's not frozen water.
And then we have to have special snow type of exercises.
Right, we're gonna do
Frozen emotions.
nude snow experience.
Yeah,
We're gonna do like Nordic style. We're
okay.
going,
Oh yeah, they just jump out.
Yeah, and then in a hot tub and back.
Yeah, back and forth, yeah. That's kind of like those mud type races they're doing now, which I actually say are very dangerous.
Yeah, because you get a heart attack.
Yeah, because if you're really hot and sweaty and then you get all this cold water put on you, or you get stuck in that cold mud, you can die from that, and people have.
So is that why you keep putting that on me at night?
Did you figure that one out?
Yeah, I did.
I'm sorry, I have to think of
Plus,
something
I
else.
still think you're poisoning me.
Yeah, well, that one, like, I can't comment in public on that one. Anyway, so we have the days with Stewart. We have, if you want more than one day, we do have the several day. Again, talk to Patricia about that. She knows the details. And right now, that's really what we have on the calendar.
Well,
we have always have other things in the works, but.
Well, because Iceland and
Or,
Poland.
yeah, we have to make sure that, with the dates, because you've been looking at
Yeah.
those for
Well,
a
it's
few
going to be
months.
end of August and September,
Yeah,
yeah.
most likely, if that happens, that's when it will happen. So we have lots of things going on here. Be sure you get a membership on the site. That's where big things happen. Be sure you like our Facebook fan page because that helps raise up our Google ratings. So like, and share with your friends. What else? Anything else?
We should start a new social network. Instead of Facebook, we can have genital book. Like bring it down, ground and balance, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We should.
Well, you're going to be living up to your reputation here, so.
I have a reputation.
You have a reputation.
Of?
Well, we know what you write in your beard, do all kinds of things with, so.
Yeah,
You have to
you're
be
the one
careful.
You're the one that writes it in there.
No, those are your handlers. That's it. The blind cameraman gives the note under your door every day.
That's true.
All right, are we done? Are you done? I know I'm
Well,
smart.
I am like so done with you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so.
I
Anyway,
guess.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day week
Happy-
because it'll be after Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day strong.
And I guess we'll just see you next time. And I promise next time I will go through Janet's notes before I let her open her mouth on the camera. Because really, I don't know where you get that stuff. But that's.
What I have is absolutely amazing and astounding how I can put everything together.
I want to see the websites you go to. I'm going to check your computer
You can do that.
and put blocks on there. Anyway, bye people.
Bye.